This is Riker the Wolf. Previously in my adventures, I was working for the Resistance as a courier to gather supplies and get around Eggman's forces. Now that the battle has been won, I'm here to deliver the niche for the company of Trouble Proud. And these are my friends.
Who wants to go first?
Riley, woo!
I'm Kat.
I'm Penana.
Pen for short.
Pen for short. Or penna. Whichever works.
Ah, yes, the pen. 'Tis mightier than the sword.
What a great first day.
Alright, so, Bernie, you're a veteran of the niche, but since we're doing this on Discord and I also can't pause it for music and everything, we got a little bit of a difference, but from your perspective, what was this originally?
Like the whole setup of the niche? Is that what you're asking? Like, are you asking my opinions on how this was back at school?
If you could do like a short description.
Geeks get together and chit-chat about geeky topics.
Perfect. I love it.
Basically how it was. And it was fun.
It shall remain fun.
Very fun.
And as we go on with it and I return to it, I hope I do better and better, and someday we get to a point where there's another Sonic anniversary and we can try this again when I have better understanding of audio.
Hey, we're starting off slow. We'll get there.
I agree with Pen on that one.
I agree with her too.
I is a newbie to this, so I have no idea how this works.
First time for me. No idea what I'm doing.
It's okay, you're starting off with great.
Alright. So, currently, this is the most recent Sonic thing that everyone's been talking about. The movie came out. It's making tons of money. It's excellent. I know that 3/4 of the people here saw it.
Agreed.
I cried. Oh, no, I mean, I didn't see it. I didn't see it, that's why I cried. But I want to see it.
I about did too, Pen.
I look forward to it. The commercials got me hyped. The new commercials. I was like, oh yes, this looks awesome.
It is a worthwhile watch. It is a worthwhile watch. Both Kate and Riley saw it with me, and I think they both saw, since I'm the veteran Sonic fan of 23 years running, that I think they both know that
Wow.
I was like a dog getting scratched in just the right place.
He was ecstatic about it. Let's just say that.
Oh, I mean, that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
So proud. So happy. So happy for you.
It's so good and so fulfilling. Like I'm not gonna try and be like the that can do no wrong kind of
Oh,
fan.
yeah.
I got opinions that they could definitely improve upon. And like some of those opinions are like they could do a little bit better with references even. Cause like I think people have seen this end credit song by now released, and that's as close as I got to Welcome to the Next Level for like a full-on Sega reference. Like I want to hear Welcome to the Next Level in the next movie. It's a cool slogan.
Fair enough.
So just to like help jog your memory, since no one actually wrote anything down,
No notes?
warn people about spoilers. This is your last warning, people.
Also, warning to me, it's okay. Tell me everything.
Sorry.
It's okay. I've seen stuff and I was like, gosh darn it.
I feel like most of what we'll talk about is probably stuff that probably got spoiled for you already as the existence of, but mainly I'm here to like clear up lore stuff.
Most likely. I mean, I figure the movie will end happy in some way. If not, then, oh, my whole world turned upside down just now.
I mean, there's plenty of room for a sequel.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yes, there we go. Yes, I saw a thumbnail for that, and I was like, oh, thanks, YouTube.
I don't know how I feel about The Rock being Knuckles.
What?
They're apparently going to have talks for that.
Oh, what?
That actually sounds really cool.
I can see him taking on that persona. I think it'd be cool.
I could see it, but here's the thing. I don't think The Rock does serious very well. Personally, I don't. Like, no offense, I
Really?
think he's a cool actor and everything, but whenever he's trying to be serious, I really can't take him seriously.
Well, that's because he's halfway smiling every time he's trying to be serious.
No offense to The Rock, you're a cool dude, but the thing is, I really hope that if they do give him the part, he does Knuckles justice as a character. Because for the longest time, and this is a complaint a lot of people who are longtime fans of the series have, they have been making him out to just be a complete dumbass.
Who, Knuckles?
Yeah,
Yeah, Knuckles isn't. Nah, he's tactical about things.
yeah. He's not stupid. He's detached from culture. Because his whole
Mm-hmm.
story is he's been isolated on an island for all of his life. So, it makes sense that he's naive. He'll he he has one job, and that job has been his whole life's purpose, so it's really easy in that kind of psychological area to just be like jump to the conclusion that if someone offers to stop someone that you expect to do a thing, that makes no sense word wise.
So in other words, just don't have them be stupid.
Yeah, don't have them just be like all brawn, no brains.
Like Starfire almost, or like she's pretty.
Yeah, like Starfire. That's actually a good. That's a good comparison.
It's the first person that came to my head.
Good Starfire.
I was like, oh, but I love her.
Yeah, the good Starfire I liked.
Yeah, let's not get me on
Yeah.
What's going on with Teen Titans right now.
I'm saying that's who I compare him to in regards to someone being naive.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not go off topic here. Let's Sonic it. Let's Sonic it up.
The rule is we're only going as far as the games have gone with rating 2, and if we get on Teen Titans, I'm gonna start cussing.
Just think of the character of how you're comparing it. You don't want him to be like her where she's like oblivious to everything. But she was from a different planet, so fair on that part. But on this part, it's an island.
Well, here's the thing. I want him to be like that if we're talking about Teen Titans.
No.
If we're talking about Go,
we're talking about Go.
get that out of my house.
But yeah, back to the topic.
Anyways, back on topic. I was bringing up Knuckles and stuff because I remember you guys having like a bit of confusion in the opening scenes of the movie.
A little bit, yeah, because that kind of brought in some of Sonic's backstory, and it was a little different from what I'd seen.
Yeah, I was really confused.
So you guys want me to take that from the top in game canon and then kind of move into the comic canon of it?
Sure.
So on the southern islands of the world Sonic lives in, there is the Angel Island that is cut off and floats in the sky. And it was home to an entire tribe of Echidna for years on end that kind of is pretty much extinct. It's sad, Knuckles. Yeah.
Oh.
You don't have to be like too quiet. If I'm pausing, it's because I'm allowing you guys to react, by the way.
Oh, gotcha.
Sorry, I'm chewing.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I'm fine with just.
I don't really know how to react, honestly.
Anyways, and they play the whole tribe plays a major role in the architecture of Sonic games because it's theorized that they've made most of the architecture on the island. They might have gone over to some other islands and such and all around the world because there's the Mystic Ruins and Sonic Adventure games. There's, if you consider them like a part of the architecture and such, all the tiny statue things in Sonic Adventure 2, because they have the whole mural motifs that the Echidna make. But they're very heavily tied to the lore of Sonic because their tribe guarded the Master Emerald for centuries.
Well.
Okay. I remember that in some of the episodes that I'd seen, Eggman was going after that for power.
I remember my brother trying really hard to beat the Emerald level when I was younger.
Was he playing Sonic R?
I don't know. It had a big emerald and some pyramids, and he was running around a forest.
Oh, that wasn't a level. That was part of the hub world. That was the Mystic Ruins, and it's part of the hub hub world. It's I remember getting lost in that tons of times when I was a kid. Now I kind of can navigate it, but if I drop too far, I just kind of get lost.
Cool. Oh, okay. I actually thought of this earlier, but I wasn't for sure if it would be a good question or not. But since this is probably completely off topic, but your overall rating for everything Sonic, other than the restaurant.
Do you want me to go down a list on that?
Isn't there a lot?
No, just like an overall rating of what you think the whole entirety of Sonic universe is about.
I mean,
Like a 1 to 10 rating.
oh, okay, because I thought you wanted me to like elaborate on it or something. I'm like, that would take way too long.
5 hours later, and next is
We'd also have to go into parallel universes.
part 2. We all just fall asleep.
I mean, if you're really asking for like an overall, that's like, it's one of the most major parts of my life. I have to give it a 10.
Like I said, well, I didn't say this, but I kind of figured that.
I mean, I'll admit I have a bias. I grew up with the games. They were what I played when I was moving around as a kid till I settled down, because reasons and such, family reasons, and that kind of filled my whole social quota on trying to figure out how to be a person. Sonic the Hedgehog games, because they were easy to get, they were affordable, they were fun for me, they're very colorful. My siblings had hand-me-downs
Aw.
because I was 96 and it's a 91 game series. So
I kind of get that. I was an antisocial person. I mean, I can be social, don't get me wrong. If I'm in groups, I can play that part, but I like my alone time.
So true.
So
You are definitely the most social person out of all of us, Katie.
like when I got into anime, I'm going off topic here for a second. Riker.
the wonderful world of introversy.
Yeah.
I mean, we can bring that on topic. There is a Sonic anime.
I didn't know that.
I mean, Sonic X technically is an anime.
There's also Sonic's Ventures, but it's more like a cartoon.
Yeah. I mean, that I can get into a whole thing about the various mediums Sonic has hit and various shows that Sonic the Hedgehog got made into. Because I think one of the ones that like people know exist, but they have no idea how long it was running or what it's all about. They just have like the basic story because they at least heard the theme song is Sonic Underground.
Yeah. Yep. That's one that I've seen episodes of.
Interesting factoid. Sonic, Manic, and Sonia, the 3 main characters, all voiced by the same person.
That is so cool.
I've actually never seen
Skills.
that.
I want to say the actor's name is Jaleel White or something. The guy who played Urkel. Yeah, Jaleel White. I was right.
You get a cookie.
A cookie with frosting?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Why not? Sorry.
Dang it, now you guys make me hungry again.
Cookies are good.
I'm sorry. A sugar cookie.
No, you're good.
Ooh.
I meant chocolate chip, but whichever works.
Chocolate chip sounds good too.
I got a good chocolate chip recipe.
What? Cookies?
Always good to have the rations.
You know what? I'm really craving
What?
a jelly-filled donut.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yum.
I mean, I'm saying
So
you're
true.
craving chili dogs again.
It's chili dog time. Yum.
Fun personal factoid. I can confirm that anytime that was outside of being in a car with my family that I went to Sonic to get a chili dog, I always played that chili dog mix.
He does.
I've done
Yeah.
it every single time without fail, and I'm proud of myself for that.
You get another cookie. Woohoo! Need to bring a plate of cookies.
All right. I mean, let's get back on topic.
We've gone places, but yeah. Real quick, I want to say, just to get back to the echidnas, just to knock it out. I loved the designs of them when they showed up in the movie, because it makes them feel all the more mysterious that they got tribal mask. It works so well with their aesthetic, and they never have been seen in the games alive, so to speak.
That's
Wow,
interesting.
really?
There's a whole time travel thing in Sonic Adventure, but outside of that, they're all extinct. There's no remainders unless you count the kind of controversial BioWare RPG of Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood.
Oh.
So I have a question, Riker.
Yes.
What happened to them?
Ooh.
Well, that gets more into the story of Sonic Adventure, and is explained in that game if you ever want to play it. But the short of it is, there was an ancient god of destruction called Chaos. You may have seen the watery, bubbly boy around here and there. And, well, you know how we were talking about Frozen before the recording, and there was like a whole misunderstanding with the ancient people?
Yes.
Yeah, it kind of went something like that. And they tried to attack Chaos, even though he's like a chaotic neutral.
Wow.
Ba-dum-bum. And, she's just kind of minding his own business, spawning Chow. If you recognize the Chow Garden from the games, all Chow
Chow.
are DNA of Chaos.
Cool.
They have a bit of his DNA. Those cute little bubbly creatures are little spawns of gods of destruction.
Oh, cool.
But anyways, they fail to understand the essence and the presence of Chaos. And the entire tribe, excluding Tikal, goes, "We must kill the beast!" Like a bunch of idiots.
Your call?
And in the process, it's another one of the ancient tribal echidnas. She's like kind of like a character of pure good.
Does he have something to do with Knuckles?
She's the guide in the first Sonic Adventure game. I mean, of course, she's an echidna of his tribe, because the tribe is called the Knuckles tribe. It's kind of derivative. She was mainly a feature in just Sonic Adventure. She is remembered fondly, and is a sweetheart. But as far as her canon goes, well, her soul is I'd have to explain the entire ending of Sonic Adventure to really elaborate on where she and Chaos and everything else went and I kind of don't want to spoil that much.
Fair enough.
Anyways, she tried to stop the tribe, but fire and brimstone consumed the land, Chaos retaliated and was laid dormant in the Master Emerald. Most of the tribe got wiped out by him, and that's why Knuckles is alone.
Oh.
So do we know Knuckles' parents?
In the games, no. However, in the comics, the Archie comics originally,
Archie comic.
there were a lot more echidnas, but the thing is that they're kind of retconned now. And it's because of a whole famous controversy with a guy called Ken Penders, I believe, if I remember the name right. I think that's right, yeah. Because that also gets back into Sonic Chronicles: Dark Brotherhood. I mentioned that earlier.
I'm going to have to do a lot more research after this.
I'm with you, sister.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot.
Oh.
It's fun, though. It's very fun. It's fun. It's fun to get into the lore of this series.
There's so much.
And not just because it gets kind of crazy. Like if I were to explain everything in the comics, it'd just be a whole cluster. But Knuckles does have parents in the Archie comics. His dad kind of died of cancer.
Hmm.
Yeah, his mom's alive, and he has a little nephew, I believe, if I remember, named Kneecaps.
Oh, heck, okay.
Wow.
Huh. Kneecaps. Knuckles and kneecaps.
Yeah. And also from his tribe, we get one of the best villains in the Archie comics, Dr. Fitinius. I never know how to pronounce it.
I'm gonna butt in here for a second on that comment. They definitely humanized that world with that situation with his dad.
Yeah. And that's only the tip of the iceberg.
Oh boy.
Like just to kind of give you an idea, almost half the characters either come from royalty or have destinies to change the entire universe.
Wow.
Oh, that's not cliche at all.
Oh wow.
90s comics, everyone.
Hey. Good old 90s.
Still awesome, but the reason that that's all retconned is because Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood was very similar to the story that Ken Penders was writing for the Archie comics. And there was a lot of poor communication that went between both parties of Sega, the creators of the Sonic Chronicles: Dark Brotherhood game. Did I say both parties? I mean all parties. And Ken Penders and all the other writers and artists on the Archie comics. And it turned into a whole fallout that kind of budded a whole mistrust.
Wow.
And because Sega didn't join in on the legal battle for the characters, pretty much, I want to say like 90% of the cast that was created for those comics got retconned out.
Dang.
It's not nice.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing. It's one of the reasons why I hate that copyright hasn't been fixed in years. It hasn't been updated at all. I'm not gonna mention a certain company because I don't want to get sued.
Hmm.
They definitely easily could, but it's why I hate them for originating it as it is and not doing anything to update it.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But it is really cool that the echidnas have made a return, and that was like a big thing for everyone.
Well, and I remember from the beginning of the movie, it kind of gives you a guardian for Sonic,
Yeah,
and that was one thing that kind of
Long Claw,
confused
you
me
mean?
because I figured Sonic was alone for a long time, kind of like Knuckles.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who theorize that Sonic's been I mean, he's in his official lore, Sonic was born on Christmas Island, and as at some points in his teenage years, Eggman comes to the island, starts causing trouble, kidnapping animals, and also trying to kidnap Sonic, presumably for his power. This is a thing that's never really elaborated further in the games,
Huh.
but like it's in the official like manual and everything. So there was definitely a reason that Eggman's been chasing after Sonic originally, and now he's just in an all-out war with him.
Hmm.
Because Sonic comes over and he's looking at him and he's like, "Hey man, get off my turf."
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do.
It is one of those things that's like constantly hinted at because there's people that like note how Sonic reacts to Blaze's story in the Sonic Rush series. Blaze the cat, by the way, is one of my favorite characters and is a pyrokinetic princess from another dimension
Oh.
who had a very long loner streak because people had a sense of fearing her powers and stuff, and
Hmm.
so she had to seclude herself and has a very hard time making friends.
What a move.
And it's adorable because she's a tsundere, and I love it.
I am intrigued with her now.
It's why she's my favorite female character in the cast. And she needs a solo game, please.
Mm-hmm.
I want that so badly.
So pass.
Sega, make it happen.
But in that, Please do. Sega, hire me for writing if you are willing. There's a lot of people who are like, always going, "Oh, the fans should just write everything," but I understand that they're not in a position to gamble on that. Sega does really well in Japan because they have other properties they can rely on that people are used to. They own a lot of pachinko machines, they own a lot of arcades, they publish a lot of different games that are exclusive to Japan, and they even have a partnership with Hatsune Miku.
Letting the fans write the scripts is, in my opinion, not a good idea, just because it gets so jumbled.
Yeah, giving fans total control, especially off of just like a couple of fan games and a couple of fan-made scripts that are made, really isn't the smartest idea.
Yeah.
No offense to the fans, I've seen some really cool stuff made by them. I've been playing one of those really cool things for the past 5 days because it's one of the only games that's working on my computer online right now. You guys really should join me on Sonic Battle R. It's so fun.
Think about it.
Well, Riker, you know that I'm not really. I'll jump into the Discord calls and the live streams and stuff like that, but I don't normally play.
I know, but it doesn't hurt to try and get you guys on it.
Where were you going with this?
I don't really know. I have a lot of questions.
I didn't even finish my thought on like how the whole Sonic Rush series has that hint of Sonic knowing what it's like to be secluded and alone and everything in canon of the games. Because it's the way he responds to Blaze when she has an outburst about, telling her past and why she can't trust people. It's the way he responds to her and everything, and it's a really like sweet moment. It's one of those moments I emphasize with because I'm like, I know all too well.
Well, Sonic doesn't trust easily either. He's not right off trusting people.
Well, I mean, if you look at the storybook series, it's kind of like how I am whenever I'm meeting new people. You're all stuck at a neutral position, and I'll be on guard figuring you out the whole time, but I'll act like I'm all good with you, kind of deal. I think that's kind of more accurate
protective
to Sonic's trusting of people. Yeah. I mean, it was only in the second game that he ever first met Tails, so.
Yeah, Sonic and Tails have quite the older brother or younger sibling vibe.
That is exactly it. Even in the comics, it like directly is like, until Tails' parents make an appearance, he's an adopted brother.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tails' parents in the comics is really interesting because they're kind of war criminals.
Oh.
What? War criminals? And they gave birth to that innocent looking thing?
He's an innocent little bean.
Okay, hang on. Don't just say. First off, don't assume Tails is just a punk because the recent games have been making him out to be like a Mary Sue or something.
Oh.
Which they really need to start fixing because he's had plenty of his hero moments, and he doesn't take crap from people.
No.
And there's like one of the coolest issues of the Archie comics is a House of Cards story. Not exactly issues, but like set of issues. Cause in that, it's at a point where, Tails is trying to work with his family, but Sonic's working for the royal family, and they're still, technically wanted criminals and everything. But there's a whole thing, and Tails ends up being on opposing side of Sonic, and they have an all-out fight.
Oh.
And it's one of those things where it's like, it's so sad that this has to happen, but I'm also sitting there like, it's so cool that this had to happen.
That does sound kind of cool.
So not fair. You're pitting brother against brother.
Yeah, I like it because it also shows that, like, that younger brother dynamic does weigh on Tails every now and then. And
Well, of course it would. Sonic practically helped him figure out who he was.
yeah, but it gets to a point where Sonic kind of expects him to take the back seat sometimes, or at least acts like it.
Yeah, I could see that. He's used to being the main hero.
Which I'm kind of glad they tried to bring that into Sonic Lost World, which, as far as the whole series go, Sonic Lost World is my most hated Sonic game.
Really?
The controls are such garbage because they had mostly a Nintendo team make it, and I think they got people from Mario, so they mapped it to feel more like a Mario game or something, and it just feels wrong because there's no momentum to anything. And it just I can't play it because I want to move more. Drives me up
Yeah.
the wall.
Well, with somebody with your experience, with someone with your experience in the Sonic universes and the stories and the games, I mean, having Nintendo step in and mess with things is hard.
Yeah, I mean they still had most. I only say that like that because I never actually played the Sonic Boom games though, and they definitely did not have Sega working on the controls on that, and you can tell from the way it plays. But yeah, that's a different story I don't want to get into because I haven't played it and I don't like judging things that I have not had the chance to experience.
Somebody's a theorizer.
Anyway, one of the other things that I hate about it is that the story is just really cringy. The Deadly Six are some of the lamest villains ever. Everyone who's ever experienced them knows they are the most
Wait, what?
cut and paste kind of sitcom villain character archetypes ever. You got
Hey, Riker.
Wait, what was their name again?
you got emo, you got crazy, you got fat, you got girl, and you got old guy. And then you got Zavik, who was the only saving grace of them.
What was the name of the group?
But he's stuck being held back by all of them. And then just to remind where I was going on this rant for, it's because when Tails gets in on that whole story, the whole dynamic is Sonic's really cocky and also not taking any advice from Tails. So things get kind of worse and worse because of that. And it's really a phoned in way of having them have a difference. I want them to have some differences, but it was just handled so wrong.
Tails and Sonic have their differences, and we could go into that.
I can't really speak. I know he runs fast, and he's a hedgehog.
You also have to remember that what you see is what you get with Sonic. He is a guy that loves adventure.
That's true.
Paraphrasing from Sonic Adventure 2.
Riker, when you talk about him being in a different universe, is he considered royalty? Like with the underground, he's considered royalty. He's running from. He's a part of the rebellion.
That Sonic Underground is kind of the only one where he actually is royalty. In the Archie comics,
Interesting.
his family, it's a weird thing because there was like a whole space alien mutagen deal bomb stuff, and humans for the most part got wiped out or turned into mutants. And then animals also mutated, and that's how they all became bipedal, superpowered things. And there's a whole war, and that went on, and that's why Sonic has any ties to royal family and such.
Okay.
And I could get into
Well, no.
Mobius 25 years later, where he marries Princess Sally and becomes king, which is an interesting thing. I don't understand why people who are longtime fans of the series don't understand that Sonic sucks as a leader.
Oh.
I mean, I love the guy.
Really?
I love him. It's not his plate.
Is that one of his weaknesses?
He's not a good leader.
I mean, he's subpar, but it's not his place to be a perfect hero. And I hate that people try to make him sound like that. One of the things I love about Sonic is that he is a flawed hero. He is hyperactive, which is good for being the one to step up when times get tough, but it also can be a hindrance if you're not careful with it. And that's also a thing that kind of got explored in the whole of Sonic Lost World, because the whole reason, like, there's this magic conch that controls the Zeddy in that, which is what Zavok and everyone is.
The magic conch.
Kind of like on SpongeBob.
Sorry.
Why did I know that was coming?
Why did you set yourself up for that? Anyhow, continue. Anyhow.
Why did they design it to be a freaking magic conch?
The magic
It knows all.
Someone
who worked on that game knew exactly what they were doing with that, and I know they do.
They're like, oh yeah, let's go work out. Let's go. Continue though.
And I hate that people call Sonic an idiot for what he does about that, because it's in his character to do this, and with the situation at hand, as far as Sonic knows, they're just being oppressed by Eggman. Typical Tuesday. So he kicks the conch out of Eggman's hands, and then they retaliate by taking over Eggman's robots and shooting up the place, including Sonic and Tails.
Oops.
I hate that people look at that scene and it's like, geez, Sonic, how'd you screw that up so bad? It's exactly what he would do. That's kind of the logical thing to do. Bunch of creatures being controlled by Eggman, well, time to break them free of their control. And then maybe become friends with them or something, or try to figure out their stories so they can work together to retaliate against Eggman. It happens. It happened with the Wisp. If you really want to go with it, it's been happening ever since Eggman came into the picture, because all the robots are filled with animals that he kidnapped.
It happened a lot. But not this time. Yeah, you can't really blame him. Yeah, you can't really blame him. Poor Sonic.
Say what now?
All of Eggman's robots are powered by kidnapped animals.
That's no.
I agree.
That was a general reaction. No.
That's why he's not a good person, so poor Sonic.
I agree with that, Penna.
My God.
Don't mention the band that this comes from, but there's a reason he's called the Eggman.
Yeah, he steals eggs.
I'm good.
Okay, you killed me.
You said that so serious. He steals eggs. We gotta stop him. That was good.
Hi, guys.
Oh my gosh.
You're here all weekend.
Thank you very much.
That was good.
He kidnapped 4 innocent creatures. He deserves to get his ass kicked. That's just my opinion, though.
Fair enough.
I mean, Eggman's whole goal in life, just to elaborate on it, is to take over the world, turn it into a whole mechanical cesspool of oils and chemicals and such, and make any living thing his robot slave.
What a loser.
He's weird.
I mean, in the Archie comics, there's kind of a good reason for that. I mentioned the whole mutation and everything, and no one really knew about the whole alien bomb deal.
Oh.
People just knew stuff happened and these mutated animals started taking over the world. And so Eggman's like, no, I shall lead.
Not today.
Okay, the movie Sonic. Would that be considered a whole new universe where it's restarting?
Yes, that is a different universe.
So there was no owl grandma type deal?
No, Longclaw is a completely original character to the movie.
I wanted to ask about that. I was like, wait, what?
I instantly like her though. I like that motherly figure.
That small seconds she had, and it's just like, I like you.
There was so much development. She gave him so much wisdom.
It's like, no! I see how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope she's just kidnapped. I know I'm being optimistic, but I hope she's just
Me
kidnapped.
too.
Me too.
Well, there's a sequel coming, hopefully, so. Ooh.
They have the money. I highly doubt they're not.
They do.
It'd be a dumb move not to.
I kind of am hoping for a sequel also. That was a really good movie.
Like, please, please, please. I haven't even seen the movie, and I'm just like, ooh, I wonder if there's gonna be a sequel.
Ah, Penna.
Because I'd like to see it.
Something that just to stay on the long claw a little bit more. I kind of hate that was one of the designs that apparently people didn't like, and they were saying like it was a rushed thing because of, you know how everyone now knows about the original design that they were actually planning on going with. Hollywood garbage.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like the design of Long Claw though.
I like it too. I think it's mostly just like a matter of people being loud, but I've heard around that people don't like it because it's so realistic.
You're kidding me, right? It's too realistic.
I like that.
Yeah. Like, you know, I'm sure they probably retouched the echidnas too and everything. I don't know what they originally went with you know, the character that pops up in the end. Not to spoil, but you know.
Boyle, do it. Do it.
No, because you still need to watch it, Penna. We's not going.
But I saw clips of I saw a thumbnail of the ending. I was like, oh.
Yeah, but we were all warned at the beginning of this that there was going to be spoilers too.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it to spoilers that are like from stuff that's very already existing and everything now.
Oh, fine.
Like stuff that has a long history. But I think because it's really hard to make an anthropomorphic owl,
Very true.
especially in the Sonic style, it's hard to imagine that, especially the kind of movie they were going for. I think Long Claw being just a big natural owl with apparently enough opposable appendages to make a house.
No question.
Very true.
Like, I think that was a good thing.
Okay, so my issue with everybody's complaining that she looked too realistic, dude. It's a live action version of Sonic. What were you expecting?
It's an original character too. They have no frame of reference for. There's no actual like. I mean, if you go with the Sonic OVA movie, there's an owl in that, but it's a one-off character there. And also, I really don't think it would translate well to a realistic position.
No, because then I wouldn't have believed the rest of the movie.
Yeah. I know it sounds like I'm like half and half on the sides here, but you know, they're aliens.
Yeah,
They're alien species. They can look like whatever the heck they want.
exactly.
It's why
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked up the picture just to see the owl again. I'm like, what is everyone complaining? Oh, I like her design.
Yes.
She reminds me of a character from like that Guardian movie that involved a lot of owls. That's who she looked like.
Legend of Gahul?
Something like that, yes. So why do people gotta
to be
complain?
fair, that's full of owls though.
Exactly though, but come on, why do they gotta complain? What do they expect? Why do people expect? Too many high expectations.
I think it was a really cool choice that they went with an owl though, as like Sonic's caretaker.
Yeah, sure. Someone wise.
Video games as a whole have had a long history of owls being guides. Look at The Legend of Zelda, for example. Almost every single one of those games has an owl that tells you about how to do stuff, or they have some kind of owl-esque stone.
Still owls.
Owls are good.
They are though.
I mean, they'll probably, you know, in real life, they'll probably rip your eyes out, but they're good caretakers.
Oh yeah, but we could admire them from afar.
I love owls.
Huh.
They're my favorite bird.
Yes.
Ah.
Burp.
Since we're talking about birds now, I want to just say because I don't know if I'll get a chance to throw it in there. Some of my favorite characters in the whole Sonic series, the Babylon Rogues. I don't know why I said are like. I'm not a Valley girl.
Are you sure about that?
Shut your mouth.
Hey, let him dream. He can dream.
I've been trying to get rid of bad habits for years now. Okay, I'm almost out of my emo phase.
Almost.
I'm working on it. Jeez.
Almost.
I can't believe we all said that.
Almost. Almost.
There is no getting out of an emo phase. It is always there.
I did say this was open to roasting me.
That was funny.
Lingering. Waiting.
Well, you make it so easy.
Why didn't you say that sooner? Okay, no.
We're not roasting you, Remy.
Okay, you specifically aren't, but
I'm
everyone
not.
else is, and I'm fine with it.
I'm agreeing with you.
I painted the target on my chest.
Yeah, you did, but that's not the point.
Oh my goodness.
But Jet the Hawk especially is one of my favorite characters because there's such a cool parallel to Sonic the Hedgehog because they're birds, and typically in nature flying animals are faster than land animals all the time. So it made me all the more invested that a bird is what I'm going up against in Sonic Riders. That's my rival, and it's why Jet is cemented as one of my favorite characters as well. I love a lot of the cast, even though there's like so many.
Didn't know that.
Like, I don't think he's going to be joining us, but I made Nick into this, I forget what kind of bird I was called, but it was this really cool looking sharp orange and black bird.
The first thing that came to my head was a toucan. I don't know why. Sorry.
First thing that came to my head was Robin.
It was something breasted something.
Ah, yes, there we go. Not a toucan. But toucans are cool too.
I mean, they are. I feel like he'd be even more annoyed because he doesn't like furries, and he'd probably be more annoyed if he had a rainbow beak.
I think he would be pretty.
Beautiful.
There is nothing wrong with being a little gay. All right?
Never.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, woo!
I love rainbows. Rainbows are pretty.
I agree with that.
I second that.
I like rain.
I like both.
I don't like rain. Rain is depressing.
I love rain.
The Sonic like rain.
Sonic loves life, man.
There we go. Let's all be like Sonic. Love life.
Just since I said that, it's kind of an overlooked part of the whole story of Sonic. And thanks to Generations, it's confirmed as canon. Fight me on that, people who watch this. But the Sonic Storybook series, I love the first one, Sonic and the Secret Rings, was really hard to control, so I never actually beat it, and I never got back to it. I beat Sonic and the Black Knight, and it's one of my favorite Sonic games to date, because the entire cast of characters that are in there are my top favorite characters in the whole cast, even though they're technically not the characters, because there's a whole thing of like, because it's a storybook, these are other dimensional counterparts that are the Knights of the Round.
Say what now?
Sonic and the Black Knight is basically Sonic as King
Oh, okay.
Arthur, just to summarize.
That would be intriguing.
Yeah, a lot of people criticize it because it's Sonic with a sword.
So what?
It's fun. I wish they would come back to that because the gameplay in it was really cool in how you had a combat system that didn't totally slow you down.
Hey, play on words. Nicely done.
You got me. It's a really cool game. Yeah, the environments are kind of, it's medieval times and everything's kind of there. You have your lava mines, you have your mystic forest, and you have your castle town, and that's about it.
Castle Town.
Was it originally? Was it supposed to be like a large?
It was actually a pretty large game. It's just the environment of it didn't lend itself well to having a whole large variety.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really mind it. I still had fun with the game, until I beat it, and then I tried to do all the like post missions. I was trying to figure out how the heck I'm supposed to break a full-on stone brick on a rail that's suspended over water, and I kept dying. Frustration. PTSD there. Story-wise, it's one of my favorite Sonic stories because it gets to like the biggest depth of Sonic's character, where he understands the finiteness of life, that he's not just blandly optimistic with all hope for the future and everything. He understands that life is fleeting. And then you have those really inspiring words at the end of it. Every story has its end. That's why we gotta live life to the fullest.
Whoa.
I don't think I'm quoting that perfectly, but it's so beautiful. And then you got Crush 40 coming in with Live Life, and it's so cinematically wonderful of an ending. C'est magnifique!
That chef's kiss. Mwah.
Oh, I was doing that. I was doing that. Very nice.
I honestly remember crying at that.
Oh.
There's very few things. There are very few things in this life, especially works of fiction, that will make me cry.
I wish I was like that. I cry too much. I cry too much.
Yeah, me too.
I've been steeled pretty well. Of the list of things, the deeper parts of Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie Into the Spider-Verse,
Oh, classic.
Wolverine,
Yeah,
Logan, I cried at.
Wow.
Yeah.
Logan, it hit different.
Wow.
This is a little off topic, but
It's okay.
it's in just to show that like the only other thing was Big Hero 6, and I think I actually did cry at Deadpool 2. Yeah, I did.
Oh, I almost did, but I think I had like a little tear. Anyhow.
Back to the subject. I have a question.
What?
No question.
What if you were to suggest where to start? What anime or game would you suggest to start with?
Oh, good question.
Well, if you have a hard time getting a hold of the game, I would recommend, because it's one of the series that very directly coincides with the games, to watch Sonic X.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, it has a lot of not game stuff, and it has its own lore as to what gives Sonic like a spin dash and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like a large part of Sonic X is the Sonic Adventure series, and also one of my favorite games that people need to start acknowledging as part of the canon, Sonic Battle. Come on! Bring Emerald back! Bring Emerald back! Bring Emerald back! I've gone on my crusade. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
It's all right to defend what you love. I mean,
That I have a huge bias on that one, because that was probably like the Sonic game I played the most when I was moving around, and all I had to do in a car was play games. But it's one of the ones that I constantly wish people would reference when they're doing stuff like, what's Sonic's true power level, or how fast can Sonic go? Because the final boss battle, canonically, even though in game you get like I think a 5-minute time limit, canonically it's within a matter of seconds that you have to defeat Emerald before, because like he kind of got hacked and stuff. Emerald is a robot. I don't think I explained that.
no, you didn't. Not at first, but it's
Yeah, sorry. He's a robot called the Gizoid. The closest he has ever made to making a reappearance is in Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. which, as I've mentioned, is a controversial game and probably will never get a sequel because of the whole legal battle that happened.
Oof.
I don't understand why people don't acknowledge that, because Sonic, it's one of the times where you like see Sonic actually not running too much, but he's still fighting and everything. And he has a really cool moveset and everything that I wish got put into Smash Bros. For example, Project M kind of did it, but not totally. It's also just one of the best go-tos for his overall power, because Emerald canonically has unlocked all of his super potential, because he's a robot that can copy abilities and everything.
That's no.
You don't like that?
If he's a boss in that, that's a.
Here's the thing. Emerald is there to be your character that you create. And it's one of the reasons why it's an awesome boss fight and also a painful one, because you have to destroy what you just made over the entire campaign of the game.
That sucks. I'm sorry.
What?
It does. And it's why I wish they would let him come back, because I miss him so much.
Oh,
He was the goodest boy.
He was the best boy.
the goodest. Rest in peace. You will be missed.
He deserves the title.
Oh.
Because
Such a loss.
in typical, like, starting from scratchness, he starts off as just a completely blank slate. He doesn't know how to speak, he doesn't know how to really move, he doesn't know how to fight, and then throughout the course of it, through fighting with Sonic and friends and gathering Chaos Emeralds, he becomes more intelligent and gains more personality from everyone he interacts with. And it's like a perfect metaphor for how you come into this world and, develop as a person.
God, it's like you're raising a kid.
Yeah, it makes it all the more heart-wrenching.
Oh, that hurts.
Well,
In my opinion, Emerald is one of the best written Sonic characters that we don't get to see very often. And I also want him back because Chronicles gave him a blade. Well, gave his model a blade, so to speak. The original, blew up. But there were other Gizoids on another planet.
Well,
and then they should bring him back.
They should, but I don't know who even owned the character design in the first place. And if that ended up being in Ken Pender's repertoire, you're never gonna see him again.
No.
oh.
I don't know the story on that. I've never been able to really trace that myself. Maybe over another time, if I ever find out, I'll let you know.
Well, definitely do.
Yes.
Leave a comment down below if you know exactly who owns Emerald and if we could ever get him back.
Agreed.
Hey,
I agree with that.
Blazin', thank you.
That would be awesome.
Speaking of characters that need to that we can get back, and since we were on the topic of where to start, if you can get into it, because you guys could actually ask me, if those of the chat that live near me enough, I could dig through my collection because I got a large amount of the Archie comics. I don't have the original start. I have like a few of the first ones.
I love Archie comics.
And the story develops about the time where they start getting more artists and such. Like when it really starts to go from being looking like something that you would see in the funnies to being a serious kind of cyber.
So is it kind of like the first couple seasons of Bleach is rough, and then they got good either artists or good technology to be able to animate that? Is it kind of like that, Remy?
Well, I mean, this is comics. In terms of animation,
It's different.
It's pretty much the same, but slightly different.
well, here's the thing. The Archie comics get a lot more detailed, a lot more lively and stuff. But when most people would know the cartoon of Sonic the Hedgehog that is referred to as Sad AM. That directly is from the Archie comics,
Okay.
and the style that's drawn in was like the first, I'd say maybe 50 or so issues,
Hmm.
and then somewhere along the line, they got new artists. It got into the more like cyberpunk comic kind of deal. Things got more detailed. Everyone got a little bit more expressive and a little bit more edgy. The story got developed more into it, and you got to see Sonic develop from being the cocky blue dude with the attitude to a victim of war.
Yeah.
And you actually got to see exactly how much of a threat Robotnik was, not just as a guy who polluted the world and took over robots and everything, but is on a literal warpath. It's not just a cartoony villain thing. It develops into something that really emphasizes the darker theme.
It kind of makes it more human.
Yeah,
Instead of a comic, it makes it more human because it gives you the experiences that people go through on a daily basis.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, once it started getting eventually, because anime was starting to get a lot more popular and everything, I think they got more poppy designs to the characters and everything. They still had the underlying themes of the darker stuff, but
Hmm.
they were starting to win the war against Robotnik, and things were starting to turn. Not everything was a win, but there were more wins than losses,
Right.
and they were big wins too.
That's good.
Good.
Hmm.
So they were allowed themselves to get a lot more in style with the games, where it's happier and a lot more poppy, I guess. I couldn't think of another word.
Upbeat.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It kind of gives you a sense of struggle, but it gives you a sense of reward for the struggle.
Yeah. And we got further and further in. It started to get a little more streamlined with the style of how the games would look. So it kept that kind of cartoony feeling, but it all worked together well. And then disaster strikes, and
Dun dun dun.
we get Eggman, who had not really done the whole reminder that he's a threat to society and the world in a good long time. He snaps, goes full bonkers, and turns into a workaholic on, destroying Sonic and everything he loves. And we get to one of the coolest parts of the comics from the original story run, where Mobius is in shambles. Eggman gets a huge wrecker mech, destroys all over the place, just wreck shop,
Oh,
and Sonic gets,
did you say?
and it's turns into one of the coolest comic fights of the entire run. Because in the games, there are bumpers that are completely indestructible that you just bounce off of. He goes and uses one of those as a shield.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's a really cool, and I wish it became a boss at some point, but we just have like similar models to it. I really want to see that as a in-game boss.
Yeah.
But like I feel like that just adds more insult to injury to everything going on in the comic. Because like at least if all you'd played was the games and you entered in on that, you would know, oh, it's one of those things that keep knocking me off and dropping me into a pit. Well, I understand why Sonic looks like he's about to blop a blood vessel.
Okay.
After that fight, there's a whole thing with like nanites and stuff that also happens in the comics. There's a lot of lore to it. I could go on for hours on that. Heads up if you've gotten this far into the video. Thank you so much for sticking around this long. I hope we haven't sounded too rambly. I'm just very passionate, and I wanted my friends to share in the passion. We're going to be tagging out the characters because this year Sega has announced that every 20th of every month they're going to be doing a new announcement. There's going to be something else new to talk about that I want to add to it, whatever it may be, because I might have something to speculate and stuff. Anyway, rebuilding happens, a whole escalation of the war happens, then somewhere around that time, the legal battle happens in real life, and they have to kind of retcon everything. This thing called the Genesis Wave happens, that kind of ties in a little bit more of the games to the comics, gets rid of a handful of characters, including basically Knuckles' whole family.
Well, what the hell?
Yeah, because they were almost all created by Ken Penders.
That's not nice.
They didn't really have a choice on that one, been created and drawn by him.
Yeah. You know, the nice thing is, technically a good amount of the characters that were in the comics, like some of the most beloved ones and well-known ones, are still under technically Sega's property.
Okay.
So, like, the original group of the Resistance, aka Sally Acorn, Rotor the Walrus, Anton de Coulette, Bunny Rabbit, Nicole, the AI that is basically the reason everyone gets to live.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They all technically could come back, and if you read the comics, you'll probably really get interested in them. But
Well, the whole AI that you just noted on was kind of intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So to really quick go on that character, because Nicole is a really cool one. She is an AI that was created by Sally, or not exactly Sally. I think it was actually like her family, if I remember the lore right. It's been a while on that one. The origins of her are kind of old, but they go all the way back to when it was more the Sat AM old school Sonic cartoon drawing style.
Okay.
And at a certain point, nanites get into the equation, nanobots and everything that are fairly sentient and all that. They give Nicole an upgrade enough to have her own body, and she chooses the body of a lynx. A lynx. I was like, what was the animal?
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, it's what I based Billy's character off of.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So within the confines of the new Mobius that she made, at least, she can have a tangible body.
Mm-hmm.
But she can feel, but she'll never truly feel, kind of deal.
Aw.
Yeah.
I think that part of her character kind of got lost after the Genesis wave,
Mm-hmm.
which is sad because it was one of the parts that made you really care about her.
That is really sad.
It's sad.
They tend to do that. Cut off things that actually, the fans enjoy.
Yeah.
What bugs me, and it's one of those things that I can kind of drop because it's a possible alternate future. The series of Mobius 25 years later.
Yeah.
I was really rooting for Nicole to hook up with Tails if she was going to, if Tails was going to be with someone, and if Nicole was going to be with someone. I wanted that because there was like an intellectual passion there,
Wow.
Okay.
and I don't really ship very often.
So rare.
I try not to do that either. Because I'll mention that those characters would be good together, but I'm like, nah, I like you guys separate. You guys have your own strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I really don't like shipping. I hate that so many people are always like, "Oh my God, they gotta get a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something." I don't care. This is just they gotta get with someone. Stop being controlled by a certain mouse.
Hey, what's wrong with that? I like shipping.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
I mean, it's always fun to ship, but not everyone needs to be with someone. What about the single people?
It's that it's all shoved down your throat that bugs
So
me.
true. That's so true.
Yeah, to a certain extent, some of us can be kind of bad.
I mean, look at society. It is. It definitely is. It's not an extent.
Yeah.
I believe that everyone should have some kind of partners that they are with
Hmm.
for the rest of their life.
Okay, but and this is something that I'm always arguing. What if they just don't hook up with anyone?
Don't wanna.
Yeah.
I'm like, they just don't wanna. I made a character specifically of that. Ugh.
Do they need to be with someone?
No, they don't need to be, but
Fun to imagine, but nah.
Let and then I'll be a little bit. I'll admit I'm a little hypocritical here because I am an avid supporter of the shipping of Sonic and Blaze, but I just as much prefer Sonic just stay single, just enjoy life, maybe go on a couple of dates and stuff, and be a little more intimate with some people, but like never committedly intimate, but not so much that you're like
Getting frisky.
yeah, like
Getting frisky.
get intimate in a respectful way, in the way that like you're not gonna stay with them, but you want them to know that you value them and such. That's why I would prefer if they gotta do something with Sonic in relationships, because I feel that's better to his character. It says more that he loves life and will always be in love with adventure and life, and that's just who he is. It's like with Monkey D. Luffy.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see if Sonic would ever settle down because he is just so into adventure. Like he just won't give it up, you know?
That's his commitment.
In the Mobius 25 years later, he has a family, he has kids with Sally and everything. But the fact of the matter is, he is constantly looking for an excuse to get off the throne and back into the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always threw me off.
And like to an extent, that's a little bit sad because the war itself is kind of over. You still have problems showing up here and there because if there's no conflict, what's the point of reading the comic? But I just see it as it's still that he doesn't feel in his element if he's not fit to. He's not a bad ruler, but it's not the position that his character should be in.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel comfortable.
I can't even see Sonic as a ruler.
That always threw me off. I didn't even read the comics and all that, and I was just like, wait, what? Confucius?
It's one of those things where, like, they very much play up because, this from start to finish, there's always that will they, won't they with Sonic and Sally. Here and there, he dates a couple of other characters, of course. I've heard a person call it a harem, essentially. Like a respectful harem, though.
Isn't that the whole point of comic harems, though? Is that they're all respectful to an extent?
Respectful harem.
Some of them get out of control.
I mean, really, I only use that. That only really happens in the comics, anyways. Relationships in the games at that level really aren't too important. As far as you really go, you get Amy and you get Blaze and sort of Rouge, who's flirty, but she flirts with everyone.
Hey.
Her and Shadow, like their dynamics kind of like, you guys are just evil towards one another sometimes, but you also care.
I kind of want to know where you get that idea from. Like, I got my own opinions on that comment, but
some of the episodes that I've seen them work together in, it's like she doesn't take the hint that he's not interested, but he still protects her.
Oh, interesting.
Well, to be fair, the relationship of Rouge and Shadow gets way more developed as the games go on, especially since they work gun together. GUN, the Guardian United something. I forget what the acronym stands for. I'm not good with acronyms. But I know that hurts my credibility as a longtime Sonic fan.
Nah.
That's okay. Details.
Yeah, you're probably talking to 3 people that barely know what Sonic is.
So there we go.
Everybody in the comments will just do their own research, and if not,
Yeah.
Everyone in the comment, write down the acronym.
Someone was gonna bounce correct me, call me an idiot, and you know what? I'm just going to look at that comment and walk away.
as you should.
If you want to give me grief, I don't care. I don't know you. Bite me.
And that's all, folks.
I didn't care to rhyme that.
Nah.
Anyways, Rouge, I would say Rouge is a very good portrayal of a strong female character right there. And yeah, a lot of people say a lot of controversy because they just look at her, and obviously her design is sex appeal. There's no denying that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in that kind of way that she owns it.
Ooh. It's not negative.
It's not for you to ogle at. She uses that to her spy-like advantage to taunt Knuckles and kind of confuse the heck out of him.
Yeah.
To try and get people to like Shadow and Omega to open up. Because, you know, that social side of her is, you know, a very strong part of, if you know the Sonic Heroes games, those teams still go on throughout. Rouge is the reason that Team Dark comes together in the first place, because she's such an outgoing person. I mean, to me, I would not call her approachable, but she is an approachable person. She's a social extrovert, and it's a wonderful thing of character. And also, she kicks all kinds of ass.
Cool.
Oh.
Literally.
I like her already.
Most strong, independent women will not be afraid to get into a fight if they have to. They won't succumb to it first.
I mean, she's
but if you push him enough,
she's a thief. First and foremost, she's a thief. So, you know, she'll, most of the time, it's a matter of using her intelligence more than brute strength and everything. But she'll throw down, and she'll
throw some hands.
Like gameplay-wise, she's one of the best characters to have in Sonic Chronicles. I keep bringing that game up because I also really love that game. Since it's an RPG, you get more of a feel for character personalities in it, and I was so hyped for it because I love RPG.
The glory of Sonic.
In general, yes. Oh yeah, Sonic Chronicles gets into more of the character dynamics and everything. And it's also one of the times where like you see Tails taking charge and all that. Which is really, because like the whole story is Sonic's been gone for a long time, so everyone, like a whole year has passed, everything's been going on without Sonic, and everyone's kind of got their own lives. You know, it's been so long of just adventures where Sonic is the main character and everything. So without Sonic being around, everyone kind of lives their lives and comes into their own roles, and they have to get more comfortable with things again. But, you know, it still stays into a whole dynamic. Fights break out, especially between Sonic and Knuckles, because it has to do with the whole last of his race being still existing in another dimension and all that.
right.
But I was bringing it up because Rouge is one of the best characters to have on Knuckles' team. Like, there's a part of the game, and I wish more RPGs did something like this, because it was a cool concept. You split into 2 teams, one led by Sonic and Tails, the other led by Knuckles and the echidna from the other dimension named Shade.
Ooh, more backstory on that one.
And yeah, I mean she was only in that game though.
Oh, what the hell?
See how it is.
Yeah, she's kind of one of the characters that are a reason why it's never going to really come back. The reason Ken Penders got mad is because main part of his story was the story of the Echidna tribes. And this had a whole lot of parallels, like having the secret race of echidnas that are technologically advanced and darker and such.
So he was trying to do his own thing, and nobody else wanted that?
From what I understand, it was a lack of communication because the people who wrote the game,
It's always communication.
I don't think they ever actually read the comics. As far as they knew, they had an original idea,
Oof.
but it didn't get communicated to the comic writers. None of the comic writers got to see it, and when it got released, the story was revealed, and Ken Penders felt betrayed.
Top 10 anime betrayals.
Ooh.
Yeah, but then he kind of betrays the entire team of the comic writing because he takes out a large chunk of the story and lore,
Well, I mean,
which is why people kind of hate him. I'm not trying to say I like or dislike what happened. I'm not taking sides on this.
Sounds very complicated.
What happened happened, and I hope in humanity and that there's a day where all this stuff can be swept under the rug and, working together could be a possibility again.
Agreed.
right.
Or at the very least, he allows for some characters or the likeness of characters to show up so that we can have Shade again, at least, because she was a really cool character, too.
It seems to be the best characters get taken with like reboots and stuff like that.
Kinda, because, like, with Emerald, for example, that was part of the Game Boy series, which consists of the Sonic Advanced games, Sonic Battle, and I guess technically some Sonic Pinball games. And then that got upgraded to the DS version, which went along mainline canon for sure, but the Game Boy games were in a weird spot as far as people considered canon. Because Cream the Rabbit first appeared in Sonic Advance 1. No, wait, no, Sonic Advance 2, sorry. Sonic Advance 2. Because the whole story with that is that her mother was kidnapped by Eggman and she had to step up and save her. So she's one of the playable characters in that.
No.
Cool.
Personally, I kind of want to do a drawing of, like, from my perspective, this is what's canon and how it fits in the timeline, because there's a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's people who wouldn't 100% agree with it. But I want to put in my perspective of it as someone who's played almost every single Sonic game.
Yeah, why not?
Right.
And the ones I haven't played are like ones that generally aren't important to the story for the most part. Like Sonic Boom I haven't played because that's a whole nother dimension. That's a whole nother canon. The Boom canon, as they say. And then there's stuff like Sonic Shuffle, which in itself kind of retcons its existence because it was all a dream.
So, gotta pull that card.
That's just the easy explanation.
Yeah.
It was all a dream.
I mean, it was a Sonic party game and it wasn't really the best. I don't really mind that they put it like, hey, if you guys want to just sweep this one under the rug, we don't blame you. It's not important to anything. It's a thing that happened. Have fun with it if you did, but because all the game companies were doing party games and stuff when that first came out. It was abandoned. It sort of showed up again in Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic and Black Knight as like a multiplayer mode thing. The whole party game system.
The more that Riker talks about it, I'm like learning and getting to know more about the in-depth.
Yeah, I have like no idea.
That is the goal of the niche, to get you invested.
Woohoo! For good listeners.
Yeah, but what Riker has been saying is definitely stuff that's going completely over my head on most of it.
Fascinating.
I want to get back into Sonic and watch.
I will say I feel kind of bad because I know you're only just getting introduced to anime too, so I'm filling up your palate a little.
Ah!
Hi.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
Gotta get back into anime.
It's kind of why I referenced Bleach, because Bleach is incredible.
Yeah, I'm a veteran, kind of, on anime, but Sonic, I'm like baby.
I'm one too. I wasn't familiar with them.
At this point, we have to admit Sonic X was an anime because Retropop is pulling it up all the time.
Ah.
Or Retro Crush, that's what I meant. Sorry.
It's okay, we're not going to correct you.
Support the official release, support the creators, and remember the names.
Ah.
So in the movie,
Yep.
I'm gonna go off the movie. Penna,
Yes.
don't tase me for spoiling something. If I do, I'm gonna try.
Do it. Do it.
Remy, with the origin story of Robotnik, they had him on Earth, but I don't believe that is true with comics and the actual anime and cartoon.
That is a tough one to explain.
Hmm.
Typically, Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik is
Oh, that's his full name.
is a native of whatever world Sonic originally came from. Typically.
Oh.
Oh.
But if we go on like technicality of like the Archie comics, I think at one point Mobius was what we would call Earth in its universe.
Okay.
Well.
Until the whole mutation bomb that I mentioned way back.
So I have a question: is the mutation bomb underground? Is that what starts the?
No. I mean, the Robotnik, maybe actually. That might have at least happened on that planet. I don't know a whole lot of the lore of Sonic Underground because it's so hard to find every single episode, and I haven't had time to really hunt down and binge watch that properly.
I kind of want to hunt it down now.
My exposure to it was I found it in Family Video, and I was like, oh my god, a Sonic cartoon I haven't seen. And I kind of liked it. I kind of was also like, oh god, it's one of those cheesy, they gotta throw in a song all the time kind of deals, but at least it's rock and roll.
No.
Yeah, they do that. I remember when I was living in the small town of Joy, we had cable. I think it came on like PBS.
Ooh, I love PBS.
PBS Kids, that would.
I think it was CBS actually, originally.
Okay.
I believe it was originally much like The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It was originally owned by Deke.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. But I believe the Robotnik of Sonic Underground is a native of that world.
Okay.
And the Robotnik of the games technically should be a native because then we get into one of the large parts of the canon, which is the line of Robotniks back to Gerald Robotnik, the creator of Shadow the Hedgehog, and also Maria Robotnik, the one that died.
Oh. The one that died.
I'm sure someone in the video probably will have realized that like we're comparing to a lot of things. Keep in mind, Sonic has been going on since 1991, is a product of the 90s, which is an entire decade. It's hard for a lot of things not to derive from Sonic. Even Steven Universe has references to Sonic the Hedgehog in it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I can't think of what episode right now.
There's a little Sonic action figure in one of the episodes, and if you've ever noticed, there's a lot of similarity in the way Amethyst attacks to Sonic Spin Dash.
Yes, there is.
That's true. That I caught on.
And also Jasper.
Yeah.
That too. Yeah, I did catch on to
You
that.
know, there's also like people who go on about like how Sonic compares to Dragon Ball Z and how they ripped off the Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan ripped off Super Sonic. Most people lean the other way, but the reality of it is they both came out about at the same time. There's no way of saying, nah, they definitely had that.
Who did what?
Yeah.
Which is it's why it's a really stupid argument.
Everyone's got to complain about something.
Was the author for Sonic the Hedgehog as lazy as artist for Goku though, with the hair? Just because he didn't want to like ink in Sonic or something like that for another level?
I wouldn't say that. In fact, I don't even really. Here's the thing: artist and being lazy isn't exactly a deal. It's kind of more of a matter of time constraints and the difficulty of doing certain things. It's just easier to do a certain other thing in order to get the entire thing out. Lazy is not the right word in either of these cases, and I wouldn't say.
Oh, I'm just saying because according to a YouTuber that I've watched that he does Dragon Ball for a living, he heard and read from the author, I can't think of the name, of Dragon Ball,
Are you talking about Akira Toriyama?
literally said in an interview one time that he just didn't want to ink in Goku's hair. And that's how the Super Saiyan became blonde.
Interesting.
Well, no. If you're talking about like the design of Supersonic, if that's what you mean, it was because it derived from a negative. It's when you take a negative of Sonic the Hedgehog. That's kind of what. What? If you're gonna be chuckling, you gotta elaborate what you're laughing
It
about.
just kind of sounded like you were trying to come up with a reason why that was, is all.
No, I'm not coming up with it off the top of my head.
I know.
I'm just trying to think of the proper terms to communicate it.
Yeah.
And when I say negative, I mean like when you take an image and you invert it and such. That was the actual word I wanted. Invert. It's when you invert the colors of Sonic the Hedgehog, he turns yellow and gets red eyes and such. And they wanted to go with that. There's just something about a bright golden glow that says you're superpowered now.
Ah.
They do that. They do that a lot with even in anime.
Oh yeah,
That's all over anime.
it's everywhere.
I think it even happened, prior to Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's famous for it, but I'm pretty sure there's plenty of anime that did that prior.
Like in Sailor Moon.
Mm.
Yeah, but technically Usagi's hair is already yellow.
Well, yeah, but still.
I mean, they get flowier dresses and everything, and they get like an aura around them sometimes.
Louis.
Mm.
At least from what I remember. I didn't watch too much Sailor Moon.
I haven't even watched Sailor Moon. I've just seen pictures of her.
Interesting thing though, since we bring it up, because the comics are very much the kind that go into parallel universes and acknowledging them, there are Sailor Scout versions of Sonic the Hedgehog and friends.
None.
That's great.
There's a Spider-Man-esque Sonic the Hedgehog called Stealth the Hedgehog.
What?
I always forget what this series was called. If anyone remembers just from hearing it, they were like kind of Power Rangers, but they all had bird helmets and kind of like wing things.
Comment down below.
And they all kind of look like a speed racer aesthetic. There's one of those.
Yeah, no clue.
Yes.
One of the original deals from it is one of the original characters to the comics that's a very main reoccurring one is Sonic as a universal zone cop
Say what?
who keeps the balance of the universe in check.
That's great.
And like a whole bunch of other characters from that are also zone cop counterparts and such. But it's one of the cooler ones. It's one of those things where like gravity for non-natives is screwed up. So while everyone else is walking right side up, you have to walk sideways.
Yeah. Cool.
And it's one of those, this is clearly a product of the 90s things that's really cool to me, especially in the uniform design. And also, of course, since I'm on it and I want to talk about the character real quick,
Hmm.
there is the evil version of Sonic, originally named Sonic. If you know the name, I'll let you say if you want to.
Is it Shadow? I don't know.
No.
Good. Who is that character?
Shadow is his own character. This is literally Sonic, but Sonic with like a 50s bad guy look where it's all black leather originally and sunglasses, and he's also a womanizer and all that. And then
Sounds like a bad boy.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of his
Good
character.
lord. Good lord.
He's like, what if Sonic was just and then he gets mutated.
And bada boom, there he is.
He gets mutated by the Master Emerald and turns green. Gets scratched up, I
Oh.
believe, by Knuckles' dad, actually. Or
Oh.
maybe his grandpa. I kind of got to read back at that comic. It was someone that was like Knuckles' fam. He gets like 2 scratches on his stomach. They were permanent scars. And it's kind of like a symbolism of his upgrade. And now he goes by Scourge.
Can't even picture this character.
Yeah. I can send an image in the chat.
Do send an image. Interesting. Interesting name choice.
Let's we've got a lot of ground covered. Is there anything else you guys want to ask about?
Oh my god,
Ah,
he's scared.
Yeah, I like his shoe design, honestly.
oh, oh wow, that's very pleasing.
I kind of like it.
Oh my god, it's like the definition of a bad boy. That's actually pretty hilarious. He's the baddest boy.
That is his character. And he's a whiny bitch of a
Yeah.
bad boy too.
Yeah.
Oh, that fits the character. See, bad boys are whiny.
Okay.
They just don't show it. So he's perfect. Ugh, he's a perfect bad boy.
One of the sad things, it's thanks to him that Sonic's dad is like one of the coolest characters ever. Because there's like a short part of the comics where Scourge comes in to try and ambush Sonic in his sleep. His dad's just sitting there on the couch and it's like, let's have a talk.
Cool. That's cool.
And they have like a whole talk of like, my dad was a freaking pansy and all that. And it's like, yeah, but everyone from your world is a coward. I'm not.
Come, my boy. Let's talk.
I will lay down my life to snap your neck.
Ooh.
That's the kind of vibe Jules gives off. And I'm sad that Sonic's parents were part of the Penders lineup. So we don't get to see those characters again. Not in the same way, at least.
Oh.
Real quick, if you just want to be at a point where you get the general gist of Sonic the Hedgehog and what it's all about,
Uh-huh.
I would recommend a good game to play is Sonic Heroes.
Sonic Heroes.
It takes place kind of in the middle of things,
Okay.
but it's where the story kind of like gets all its centering.
Interesting.
It leaves enough of like, if you haven't played the other games, it gets you interested in it without spoiling them.
Mhm.
It introduces you to like a major amount of like the main cast. There's also stuff like Sonic 06 that introduces Silver and such.
Mhm.
Silver and Blaze are like mainline casts.
Silver is kind of an intriguing character anyway. I need more on his story.
I'll give you like a quick summary of his story so far. He is from a future that is almost constantly in a state of ruin.
Well.
And he comes back in time to try and fix it. This is one of those things where it got into people saying, how much Dragon Ball parallels Sonic.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Trunks deal where he can go back and change stuff, but it's never going to be exactly fixed unless it is taken into his own hands. I don't think it's one of those deals where, it like half takes the, well, now it's a new reality kind of deal, but it's a reality that Silver still grew up in, yet he retains a handful of memory
Oh, okay.
every time that he goes and changes the latest disaster that ruined his world.
Well.
When he first shows up, because of the dark entity that is Mephiles, later to be revealed to be part of a giant demonic sun god, he is convinced that Sonic is the trigger all the ruin and fire and brimstone and demons raised upon the earth.
As you do.
So he goes back and he attempts, kill him. To no avail, of course, because Silver is kind of still part of a hero's story.
Mm.
You know, he's naive.
Mhm.
Although I still question how you just blindly trust. I can understand that there's probably a very few people that you've had interactions with in your ruined world that you're a survivor of. But
Mm.
boy has no mouth.
Hmm.
That's a red flag, dude. Nature, your genes should be telling you something is off about this guy. That he is speaking without a mouth and also moves like a zombie.
Nah.
No, that's totally normal.
Nah. That's normal. Where I'm from, that's normal.
06 is kind of a weird stake in the reality, though, because first off, it ends with a whole timeline reset because they have to completely wipe out the god that is the main antagonist. So by doing so, none of it ever happened because there was no trigger to the events. Mephiles, being part of that god, never existed, which means Silver never went back. The chaos of Mephiles never happens, and so on. But then Silver has the same similar story in Sonic Rivals without having the target Sonic to destroy the world. At least I don't remember that being part of it. It might have still been, actually. But in this reality, it's destroyed by a demonic entity called Ifrit. Sonic Rivals is kind of another one of those things that's it's remembered but not very well.
So this is gonna be probably a dumb question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Ask away.
Go for it.
Shadow is the exact opposite of Sonic, besides some of the powers, right?
I wouldn't exactly call that true. He's definitely made to be an anti-Sonic, so to speak.
Okay.
A good reason that his story in Sonic Adventure 2 is called The Dark Story with Rouge and Eggman.
Really, I couldn't tell. Like, really.
Just to throw out his background, Shadow is an experiment, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
The ultimate life form created by a jailed Robotnik through the blood of an alien species called the Black Aliens.
Okay.
Anyways, but you know, you get more. If you really want to know about Shadow, he has a whole game that explains his entire story and retells it.
Wow. How about I just look it up? Shadow's backstory.
Most people, Shadow the Hedgehog's still one of my loved games of the Sonic series, even though most people hate it, especially because of the guns.
Right.
I had fun with it.
Oh.
Like, if you have fun with it, don't hate a game just because everyone else hates it.
Gotta get on the bandwagon and hate you.
Anyway, because of that blood, though, I think he was also made using a Chaos Emerald to power the tank that made him. Gerald Robotnik clearly had a lot of ties to Chaos Emeralds, and so do the Black Aliens and Black Doom, who is the leader of the Black Aliens, who gave his DNA to make Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And his whole original reason for being made, and this is kind of one of those things that gets completely forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a living cure for cancer.
Wow.
Are you serious?
Say what?
Kinda. Because what he was made to do, Maria Robotnik became incredibly ill. She had to be isolated in space.
As you do. Uh-huh.
Because, you know, sci-fi stuff. Anyways. And Shadow was made in order to cure her.
Huh.
I think they got her cured, but then the gun raid happened on the Ark,
Wow.
Oh.
Mm.
which, you know, government comes in, and, you know, because you can't tell people I'm making life. I think that actually goes against international law for reasons,
Yeah.
probably good ones, in real life. So, you know, the government comes in and, in true government fashion, destroy everything, leave nothing in its wake. No survivors.
Oh. Thanks, government. I hate it.
In attempting to escape, Maria gets shot,
Mm.
Oh.
sends Shadow off, in a escape pod, but he loses a handful of his memory. All the good stuff, all the hope he was meant to represent gets lost in his memory. All
Oh,
he remembers is the burning hatred he has for humans because of that raid.
oh.
Why do a lot of these characters have like tragic backstories? I love it. Sorry.
It's one of the reasons he's the second most popular Sonic character.
Yeah.
That's true. I heard about that.
And even with, I'm gonna go off topic, even with anime, like if you pay attention to the backstories of certain characters, it's like, oh my god.
Oh yes. I love you even more.
To quote Cryotic, the story! It has a story that makes sense when you pay attention to it!
Yes.
You have to listen to the words that come to you, and listen to the dialogue, progression of tale, and the twists that are put into games! Love Cry.
Cryotic is amazing.
End quote.
I'm not trying to get extra views by name dropping YouTubers, by the way, just to be clear.
No copyright.
Well, I'm not really worried about that. I just don't want to sound like a punk ass or something.
Don't worry. Sound like a fanboy more than anything.
I'm just a genuine lover of Cryotic,
Fanboy.
especially because one time I was in his stream and he pronounced the name that I made up right, which no one ever did. It made me feel really happy.
Yay.
Aw, shucks.
Anyways, the thing with Shadow is he is a much more natural fuel for the power of Chaos Emerald and everything. And he can use Chaos powers without the Emerald.
Mhm.
He's kind of like the full potential of what someone who has ties to the Emeralds can be,
Okay.
next to Knuckles.
Hmm.
So that's where his major differences come in. He's got his own kind of deal going on there.
Is Sonic able to call upon the emeralds without damaging himself?
I mean, actually, since you word it that way, there's a good reason that Sonic can go supersonic. A lot of theories, especially in the comics, is that he's a living embodiment of chaos, like the actual
Oh.
concept of it.
Okay.
So, yeah, he knows how to use chaos control, but he can't use like chaos blast, chaos lance, chaos spear, none of the other stuff that Shadow is proficient in.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
But when he does go super, interesting fact, once he goes out of being super, it's basically like he gets like a full recharge, no matter how beaten up he was before going super.
Intriguing.
So for those viewing right now, hopefully schedule's working well. You're going to be hearing other voices. I will still be returning because I'm the host.
You better.
The return of the niche going pretty well.
Whee! We're back, baby. Stay safe. Wash your hands. All that good stuff. Yada yada yada.